All right.
All right. First up, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me, mate. It's a real privilege. I'm a long time Death Angel fan, and I have to say, congratulations on the new album, The Evil Divide, man. It's a cracking album. Really, really polished and amazing songs. And I feel it's right up there with your best, possibly your best album so far. And now you've lived
Thank
with it.
you, sir.
Oh, mate, it's amazing. And now you've lived with it for a while. It's about to be unleashed on the world in a week's time. How do you feel about it? Are you excited? You're obviously excited and proud.
Oh, fucking hell yeah. I'm beyond excited and extremely proud. I just have a really good feeling about this record, and the song is just feel really powerful to me, and I just feel that we just feel something really special with this record, and so of course we're really excited about it and can't wait to play the songs live. And first off, just can't wait for people to hear it and give it a listen and start feeling the songs. So yeah, it's very fun moments in your musical career when that's about to happen.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. I've lived with it now for a little while, and the songs just sink in, and there's a lot of depth to them, and the title itself, The Evil Divide, it seems such a perfect title for what's going on in the world right now, and even in your home country. How did the title actually come about?
That's you hit the nail right on the head, and yeah, it's the title came about because collectively all the songs were basically inspired by the current world events and a lot of the bullshit that is happening in our country and in other countries. And unless you're living under a rock somewhere, you know these various situations happening. And so yeah, I think it should be quite obvious when you listen from one song to the other. It's touching on different angles and points of views of different situations happening, and sometimes collectively various situations all at once. And at the same time, there's underlying connections to different things that have to do with our own personal reality in our life in music and with the band, and what the band goes through and what you go through as an individual in this journey through with music in your life, and what it does to you, where it takes you, and the things that happen to your personal life because of it. All these things put together form the Evil Divide.
Well, I think all that comes across in the songs too. Personally, I was expecting when I heard the album title, I was expecting a more, I guess, dark and gloomy bunch of songs. However, the album actually doesn't feel as dark as your last album, The Dream Calls for Blood. Songs like Breakaway and It Can't Be This come across as actually really uplifting tracks. And there's a feeling among most of the tracks of having enough and standing up against the bullshit in the world, which you just mentioned. And was this intentional to have more uplifting bunch of songs?
Happy to hear you say that, because that makes me feel that you're getting it. Like where we're coming from is apparent enough that it's coming across, and that is exactly what it is. And the difference, you just said it, the dark feeling of The Dream Calls for Blood was directly related to, that's much more of a personal album from our point of view, and it's so much tied to the emotions and experiences and challenges that we were going through, especially, mainly me and Mark, because we're writing the songs.
Yeah.
And what we were expressing through that era was deeply influenced by just personal situations and experiences that we were having to be forced to deal with while we were creating and going through that cycle of our band. And while we were dealing with these things, certainly the dark overtone was happening in everything that we were writing in that album. And so we just literally embraced it and vented it all out into that record. And after it was over, we just kind of hoped that we're like, oh my God, the way that this album sounds, like you really feel it in there. And it's like, I like it. I love how the album turned out. But at the same time, we'd never want to hopefully be in that same place again, going through that to have that type of inspiration. So we just hope that it was captured on that album. And in the next album, we would have different feelings of energy and angst and intensity and aggression, but just coming from another place, because that place was just too dark in a personal way. And so that's exactly it. It came from more of, now in this album, it was quite easy. Unfortunately, it was very easy to find inspiration for these kinds of intense feelings from the things happening around us in the world, happening to everybody, humanity as a whole, and people we know, friends of ours in other countries, and through the eyes of our friends, or in another instance, through the eyes of my own son, who's, almost 12 years old, and realizing all these things in the news, and there's a lot of discussion happening when you have to, pay attention to it in another way and try to explain something to somebody where you can't even explain it. And it just makes you think about it so deeply that it manifested into our creativity and into the concept of the album. But yes, it's coming with a feeling of hope. And like we're talking about it and bringing to light these circumstances and events, but in a tone that there's a way of hopefully overcoming these things through unity and coming together and getting a collective consciousness of waking up, to just have something to retaliate or just do something about it. Not just that it exists and we're fucked. It's more like it exists, but hey, let's do something about it. And let's recognize, and so that's the overall tone of the album. It is dark because the subject matter, but yeah, I like how you were feeling the positive and kind of overcoming, kind of feeling expression that's happening in there.
Well, you certainly got all that across.
Right on with it, bro.
Yeah, thanks, man. Lyrically and musically, I feel it's potentially your most varied album to date. And I'll also argue with anyone that the production on this record's your best as well. Sonically it sounds your most organic since the early days. Is it just that you guys are more comfortable with Jason now as your producer? And having Will and Damien now as part of the band for a while now, no disrespect to the past lineups, of course, but it sounds like Death Angel are tighter than ever as a band.
Agreed. Exactly. This is the kind of interview I like doing, bro. You've got it, and I just have to elaborate rather than try to explain the whole thing because you quite clearly listened and paid attention, and it got through. So that's exactly what we're expressing with this record, and those elements and circumstances completely are taking place in its creation and the process along the way, which makes it a lot more natural, and if anything, it's easier for the emotional expression to manifest into the music. That's the goal of things, but taking it from point A to point B, from where the thing is an idea or a feeling inside you, and then you're just really hoping to translate all this into the recordings and finally what everyone's going to hear. And that's everything from the sound and the more organic production that we were striving for, purposefully and deliberately to make this happen and hoping for it. But until the thing is absolutely done, you can only hope that what your vision is going to actually happen. And you're trying to do your best to make it happen, but there's a lot of things that are just, out of your hands and up to the gods of music to grant you some love and some vibration to make it really work. And so you're just doing your best to focus and do all the things in your power to make this happen, and careful planning and a lot of talking about things and collaborating and opening your radar to really letting it happen and everything, and all your experience that you've done in the past and things you've done wrong or things that wasted time, or like you should have, maybe that would have been a better approach. You really try to apply all of these things and work your fucking ass off and put all the hours in and all the analyzing and focus, and there you go. And I'm very happy to say that in this case, I'm quite satisfied that we accomplished what we set out to do, and that's just everything. Yes, the sound, the arrangements of the songs, the stylistic diversity that's happening, and where and when you want to push the envelope of the style, and how far away from pure thrash you allow it to go without losing the focus of the vibe of still being heavy and thrash, because that's what, of course, that's the main ingredient here. And where, I understand that when you put the record on, you're expecting, fans and stuff, they want to be heavy and they want to be thrash, but they're going to allow some acceptability to what you throw in there. So it's careful. There's a design in there, and you could really go too far one way or the other too if you're not very careful. So yeah, there's a lot goes into it, and it's just a real relief when it's now I'm hearing feedback and I'm hearing stuff like what you're saying, and it's just a real rewarding, man, because of all the work put in there.
I can imagine. Of course, you yourself have been around the music industry itself for 30 plus years. You are the sole remaining member of the original band. Ultraviolence and Frolic Through the Park and Act 3, for me, and I guess the Metal World, are landmark albums. Do you feel a sense of pride having helped create and build what you're talking about, that thrash genre, and how fondly do you look back at those Bay Area scene days? I'm imagining the scene's a little different these days.
I'm absolutely proud and honored to be a part of that history, and a magical thing that happened in a magical point of time, that all the stars aligned, and we were at the right time in the right place, and we just had the right energy and enthusiasm and work ethic to make it happen. And we were just overcome by the whole scene and the sound and everything that was going on, and it just fit our youth and our upbringing and that point of your teenage years where we were like totally into skateboarding and just every kind of like a thrasher kind of scenario, and it went hand in hand with the music and the skating and the action and the parties and the social, things that were going on, and it just all was one big thing that we were just in and not realizing at the time. Of course, it was just like growing up. It just was that was our scene of our teenage high school years, and it just so happened to be involved with music. And at the time, it just really was not unusual to us. It was absolutely the norm, because that's the one experience we had. That's the one shot we had at growing up, and it was that. And, in another case, we missed out on a lot of other things because we devoted all our time and energy into that. But, you can't have it all, so you sacrificed other things. There was a lot of time with friends and experiences, and shared that we weren't there because we were in the studio a lot or on tour or doing something, and we were having our own cool experience. But at other times it was heavy. It wasn't always a constant party and fun. We were forced to grow up quick because of the workload that was put upon us, and the seriousness of how we had to take things. And so a lot of learning and a lot of sacrifice goes along for every joyful experience you had in there. What people don't realize is you gave something up for that too that you'll never get back. And
first of all, thanks for speaking to me. And I know you were just speaking about the old days, and I can hear the hunger and desperation in the music amongst each record that you make. There seems to be no let up in the aggression and the hunger you guys have. Do you feel the break that you guys had many, many years ago, unfortunately, has helped create that?
I feel that the break was a necessary evil. I wish that it wasn't spawned by a horrific bus crash that we happened on tour. That part I could definitely do without. But the subsequent events that happened after that did force us into, a huge reality check, and it forced the breakup of the band and the ending of Death Angel at that point in time. And I do truly believe that there's no way that we would exist now and in the manner that we do. I mean, I don't even think we could possibly even exist, period, right now. Had we just kept on continuing on, we would have burned it out completely, and it would have been over. So that just kind of forced us to appreciate and miss what we had. And so now that our band is strong and stronger than ever, especially Mark and I, who have been there from the first album on, we recognize that, this is something that we're going to very much appreciate, and we're going to miss very sorely the day that it's gone. And so we're going to make the best of every fucking second of it that we possibly can. And so we keep that attitude, and that's just there. There's no changing that, and that's just a reality of our existence in this band and together in life. And that's what it's all about.
Well, man, I could talk to you all day. I've got 1,000 questions to ask, but I'll just thank you. On behalf of myself and every metal fan here in Australia, thanks for not only keeping Death Angel going, but still having that hunger to make the iconic and heavy music we all love. And even after all the shit you've been dealt with over the years, I personally am honoured to have chatted to you and about the band. And I feel The Evil Divide, when it is released next week, will be looked upon as possibly your best album yet. So we hope to see you back in Australia soon, man. I'd love to see you.
Thank you so much, Dave. I really appreciate your interview and the things that you said. It totally pumped me up. I really love this interview and your style at going at it. And so thanks for the support. And please do spread the word about Death Angel and The Evil Divide. That'll be helping us to get back there to Australia sooner than later. And I look forward to it. And just thanks again for everything, bro.
It's my pleasure, man. Good luck.
All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good one, and cheers.
Thanks, Rob. See you, mate.